Hi, I'm Dan. Welcome to your Brush Garage. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. All right, today I'm going to be doing a video on how to do a multi-layered stencil in the Cricut design space. It's not as much about cutting it out. That is pretty much the same, but it's how to create the multi-stencil layer in the design space. How to create the layers, how to look at what you're designing to be able to figure out what layers are going where. It can get quite difficult. So the design I picked right here is pretty basic, but you'll see it really does take about 4 layers to achieve this particular layered stencil effect, even when you're just spraying white onto a dark background. So I got a lot of viewers asking for this. I did the multi-layer stencil with the Jesus stencil, but I never explained on how to create the stencil. That one I bought, but sometimes if it's really complex, if you could find it, rather than trying to create it, it's worth it. With something simple like this, I'm going to show you how to do it. It's not that difficult. So if that's something you're interested in, please stick around. Consider subscribing. Hit that bell so you get future notifications. A couple comments, good or bad, really helps out the YouTube algorithm. We're growing. I really love that. It's all because of you guys, and I appreciate it. Thumbs up would be great. And don't forget to click all those Amazon affiliate links down below for the products I use in this video and all my other videos. And with that, let's get started. All right, so what I got here is a multi-layer or a 3-part stencil. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. So I'm gonna spray this on here quick with the airbrush, but what I really wanna show you today is I'm gonna take you over to the computer. We're gonna go into the Cricut design space, and I'm gonna show you how to make a multi-layered stencil with layers inside the design space. All right, so once you open up design space, you're gonna go to new project. You're gonna see the graph come up. You're gonna go to upload. You're going to go to upload image. Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can browse to where you're going to go, or you can have your file up already and just drag and drop. So I'm just going to drag and drop it right there. Okay, so this is my full image of what the finished product is going to look like. Now, this is a simple image, so I could just click on simple. I know some people just like to click on complex because they feel safer. I feel pretty good about just hitting moderate. My results have always been good just doing that. So here's our shape. You have a couple tools down here to deal with. You got the select and you got the erase. 42% for the zoom is pretty much standard. So what you have to look at here is what you want to delete off of your first layer. So I want my finished product to look exactly what we see here. I want to see white on a dark to a black background. So this is going to be not simple for me, but you really have to think ahead about how your layers are going to go down. So I'm going to have to spray some white in here over the black where I want the black to be. So we're going to have to come back in with some layers later and add the black back in. And you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. So I'm going to hit my select tool and I'm going to start erasing out what I know, what I think I want to spray white through this template. Now think of the black background as your piece of Mylar. And I'm just pointing and clicking with the select tool. And these are nice clean lines. Okay, so now this is where it starts to get a little tricky. So I know if I cut out those on my Mylar and I spray through it, I'm going to get the white and I'm going to leave the black background where you see it. But now when I'm looking at something like this, I go, okay, if I was to just cut out this white shape, the black is still part of the Mylar because it's solid, right? The eyes and the nose are going to come with it. So I'm going to have to spray all of this white first, and then come back in and spray the black. Now, you could also see some lines left behind here. It's where you can come over to the left, pick the erase tool, and you can click and drag, or you can just hover over and click, depending how you feel comfortable, and make sure you get rid of those lines. And I'm going to go back over here to my select tool. Let's click that one out of there. Now, this is another good example. I need to paint this white, but I need to leave black here. Well, if you cut this outside line With the Mylar, this is all going to come together. It's going to come out in one piece. So if I click that, this black square is also going to come out with my Mylar. So that's going to have to be part of another layer. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to go back to my erase tool, make sure I get that out of there. Go back to my select. Same thing here. We'll call these squares, even though it's got this little point right here. Once the cutter cuts this out, this middle piece is going to come with it. So we need to get rid of all of that. So we really don't need to erase that out because we're going to take our eraser right here. I'm going to get rid of the middle parts. Okay, so that's going to be my first layer. And I'm going to spray white through that, and all of those parts are going to be white once I spray through my template. So I'm going to go down to my lower right, I'm going to hit apply and continue. I'm going to pick the cut image on the left, a green border will go around it, let me know that that's selected, and I'm going to hit upload. So here's our image right here. Okay, so I'm going to continue to upload images because we need more than just that image. I'll show you what I mean here. So there's our full image again. We're going to go to moderate. We're going to go to continue. Now we have to figure out what we did on our first layer. Got to keep that in mind. And remember I said this whole piece is going to come out. We're going to spray this all in white. Then we need to come back in and spray in some black. So now on our second layer, we're going to want to put the black in because remember we took this shape out. We sprayed it all in white. Now we need to spray through a template to get the black back into our design. Same thing here. Remember on the first layer, we took all of this out. Now we're going to want to spray some black through and get that. Okay, now we need our black square here. As you can see, the letters are going to have to be another layer in themselves because the letters are going to fall out once the cutter cuts the square. So let's go down here to our erase tool. Probably going to have to make this a little smaller. I'll erase out those letters. You're going to see with the D and the F, we're going to need another layer in addition to the letters because we have some centers in those particular letters. Letters with centers are always a pain. So we're going to go back here, and that's going to be our second layer. We're going to go to apply and continue. You can see here what's going to be cut, that we're going to spray the black back through. The green border is going to go around the cut image. We're going to hit upload. Going to go back to upload image once again. And we're going to click and drag. We're going to hit moderately complexed. Now we have our white everywhere. We have our black eyes, nose, and rectangles and squares in. Now we got to cut our letters out. Let's zoom in on that pretty good. We've got our select tool, our F, our D, and our P. Now, as I said, that has some centers. So again, once it cuts the outline of the D out and the P, the center is going to fall out. So might as well just take it out of there because we're going to need another layer for that. Scroll down with it, that erase tool. I'm going to need a pretty small eraser on that. Get rid of those lines. That's going to be layer 3. Okay, so you hit apply and continue. This verifies what you're going to be cutting. Cut image, green border, upload. And we got one more to do. Upload. Let's bring in our image again. Moderately complex. continue. I'm going to have to zoom way in here because now we just want the center of those letters. We're on the select tool. Click that. Click the P. I'm going to show you some. If you zoom in really far, I want to open that up a little bit. So there's some lines there I can do yet without getting the P. There we go. All right, so back down to 42. We go to apply and continue. As you can see, not much of a layer, but a necessary one at that. So cut image, upload. Okay, now we are ready to apply things to our canvas. So we have layer 1, layer 2, 3, and 4. That's what it's going to be. So we're going to click layer 1. Going to come down here to the lower right and hit the green add to canvas button. I'm going to zoom out of this a little bit so you can see the whole image. Okay, now this is where a couple things become really important. You want to make sure that each image you bring in, that you are lining them all up in the same spot. Okay, that's the first thing. So before we even start setting layers or anything else like that. So you want to come up here to size, and I'm going to hit the lock right here. This way it locks the lock or the size ratio. So I'm going to adjust the height to 11. And what that's automatically going to do is proportionately size it down. So you have no control at that point over the width, where you can, if you wanted a certain width, you won't have any control over the height. But if you don't lock it, it's, you can get out of proportion of what you're looking for. It just keeps it in proportion. That's why I like it. Okay, so now the next thing is the position. 0.5 and 0.5, I like that. Half inch down from the top, half inch off the side. We're going to keep that there. Okay, so this is the first layer. You come over here to the right and you can see the first layer, and there's a little on off or a little eye. You can turn it on or off. Well, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to double click actually, and then I'm going to call this layer 1. Okay. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do, or we're going to want to do, is set some registration marks. So over here on the menu on the left, we're going to pick the cross. As you can see, it's too big, and I don't like the color. It's too dark. So let's lighten up the color right under options here. I'm going to make that gray. And then I'm going to want to set this to, I don't know. Let's try 0.625. Oh, first of all, let's go set the size of it. 0.5. Try that. 0.5. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So let's try 0.75. 0.75. Not bad. I like that. Okay, now we're going to want another one. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can go back and you can hit your shape again and add another one. Or you can duplicate this one. You can click on it. You can right click and hit duplicate. Or you can click on it and you can come up to edit and you can hit duplicate as well. That makes another cross. So I'm going to bring this down here to approximately where I want it the first time. Okay, just to see where it lands, because the coordinates are gonna follow it. So let's see. Let's try. That's pretty close to 8 3/8. So let's try 8.375, and let's try 10 7/8. 10.875. That looks pretty good. I like that. Okay. So the next thing we're going to want to do is you're going to want to hover above your stencil and click and drag so you're selecting everything. Because right now, let me zoom in and show you. Right now, if you were to hit the cut and go to cut it, it would only cut the Mylar here. It wouldn't cut this shape because it doesn't recognize it, because it's not cut through your Mylar like this is. What I mean by that is if you look, it's solid. After we do this next step, you'll see that it's not solid. It's going to be cut through it. I'm going to zoom out one more. Okay, so again, I'm going to want to hover above, come across it, make sure it's all selected, come on down here to the right, and I'm going to go to combine, and I'm going to go to subtract. Okay, now over here under the layers tab on your right, you can see the operations that we're doing. Okay, and it's kind of weird. I wish they went down, but it seems like they go up. So you got layer, okay, and we can turn that layer on and off, right? And then you got the plus signs, and then you got the group. That was the group control down here we did. And then the subtract. So now if you come back over here and you zoom in, you can see the graph lines behind your shape. It is now a part of that particular cutout, or in this case, our Mylar. So that's layer one. All right, so now next you want to bring in the second layer. So we're going to go to upload. I'm going to bring in layer 2, hit add to canvas, and now we have layer 2. Now you can see that you got layer 1 and you got layer 2. Okay, well we're going to shut off layer 1. Okay, and we're going to move layer 2 over to where we had layer 1. So first of all, we're going to make sure that the size is correct. Again, we got our little lock on. We're going to make that 11. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to set the position to 0.5 and 0.5. There we go. Now we're going to bring in our shape again. The new shape. We go set our color. We set our size to 0.5. And we set our position to 0.75. Now again, I wrote the positions down because I don't want to forget them, as easy as they may seem, but you can forget them. So there's another shape. Now, the reason why I duplicate it is so you don't have to come in here and reset this all the time, because you see, if you bring a shape in, you got to reset it, right? So I'd rather just right click on it, go to duplicate. It's there. Now, I don't have to drag it down here, see my approximate location. I know my location because I wrote it down, right? 8.375 and 10.875. And that didn't work because it didn't take. Hold on. 10.875. There we go. So now I know that those are in the exact position of the first template. So layer 2 is right here. So just to keep things straight, I'm going to quickly call that layer 2. Again, just right click on it. It just comes in with the name of your file. All right, so I'm going to go above my design, select everything, come over to combine, subtract, and my registration marks are now subtracted. So now we have a layer 1 and we have a layer 2. So let's go to layer 3. Let's go to upload. We'll select layer 3, add to canvas. We will turn off layer 2. All right, so now we got layer 3 in here. We're just going to keep repeating, rinse and repeat. All right, so I came back and I turned on, I'll show you all the different layers. We got layer 1, got layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4. So now, when you go to cut these, the cool part is once you go to cut it, you're not going to have to go back and select each one to cut. All right, so now once you know you got all your layers, we're not going to cut this here today, but the really cool part about it is once you hit make it, it's going to take you to your first layer. Once your first layer gets sent to the machine, your second layer is going to come up. Once that first layer is complete, your second layer is going to come up. It's going to be ready to cut. And you're just going to go through the same process. You're not going to have to go and reload it every single time. The purpose of this video was to show you how to create the multi-stencil layer. So I'm not going to take time in cutting it out. It cuts the same as any other cutting video that you've seen. The real cool part is, again though, that it's going to take all 4 layers because it's on that same particular screen, and it's going to allow you to cut one layer after the other without going back and having to reload everything. All right, there you have it. Not the shortest video in the world, but there was a lot to cover. I just wanted to make sure I really broke it down because I did have a lot of call for this to explain how to do such a layered stencil. So hopefully you got something from it. If you like this type of content, you guys know the drill. Consider subscribing, hit that bell. It all really helps out. Helps this channel grow. We're growing, and I really appreciate it, guys. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.